Hahaha, this might prove to be a challenge for me, Naruto said as his eyes shined in excitement.
Legendary.
Yugito was on a rock texture and didn't look as thrilled as Naruto did. That baka, Uncle A warned him, about transforming into his final form, but B would be the type to ignore his warnings even if he used the iron claw on him. She turned her gaze to Naruto, who was standing before the behemoth with a worried expression on his face. Be careful, Naruto-kun. I don't know how strong you really are, but in this form, Sensei is unstoppable.
Get ready for the thrashing of a lifetime Gaki. I'll send you packing and crying for the Shinigami. He bellowed before raising his arm up and swinging down at Naruto. Said Saiyan vanished in a burst of speed while the fist smashed into the ground and he appeared beside the beast's face with his fist reared back only to go sailing as a blur struck him from behind and sent him flying backwards in the air a few feet before stopping himself and rubs his back.
Ow man, that smarts. Naruto complained and shook the throbbing sensation off. I guess those tentacles aren't for show after all. He's not only bigger but his speed isn't even affected at the least. With that, Naruto flies at the transformed killer bee, who howled back and fires several globs of black ink with electricity arching around it, forcing Naruto to evade several of— Ow man, that smarts. Naruto complained and shook the throbbing sensation off. I guess those tentacles aren't for show after all. He's not only bigger but his speed isn't even affected at the least. With that, Naruto flies at the transformed killer bee, who howled back and fires several globs of black ink with electricity arching around it, forcing Naruto to evade several of them and notice the electricity.
Oh man, I better not get hit by any of those. Another one sails towards him and Naruto fires an energy blast. When they make contact, they explode on collision. Naruto suddenly appears above Hachibi's head with an energy ball in his hand and fires it.
Legendary.
The hybrid sees it and swats it to the side, and Naruto uses the distraction to appear under its jaw and attempt to uppercut the beast in the jaw, but had to dodge another tentacle that attempts to smash him into the ground and appears once more while another one attempts to hit him. Naruto maneuvers over it with his hands raised over his head with the palms facing the target and one hand in front of the other with the fingers going in opposite directions. Masenko ha! He cried out while thrusting his arms forward, releasing a yellow beam of energy. Hachibi brings an arm up and blocks it with one hand and grunts from the strength behind it. Naruto narrows his eyes and pushes more energy into the attack, making it slightly bigger. B grunts as he tries to stay his ground but feels himself getting pushed back from the attack and is forced to use both palms in order to stand his ground. The young Saiyan once again adds more power behind it and the beam grows in width. Grr! B snorts in frustration as he felt himself getting pushed back even more. Using his newfound strength, he pushes his arms upwards, releasing the attack into the air where it explodes into a flash of light before disappearing. Nice try, little money, but it'll take more than that to knock down the great. He didn't get to finish his sentence because Naruto landed on his muzzle with a grin on his face. Here's light in your eyes, he called out. Naruto brought his hands close to the center of his face with the fingers spread toward his eyes. Solar flare. Suddenly a blinding white light flashes outwards and surrounds both Naruto and B. Yugito saw it spreading out and covers her face with her hands as the light shined brightly. When it dies down, B was clutching his eyes and howling in pain. Eyaahhhhhh. My eyes. My eyes. He wailed out as he thrashed around with his tentacles smashing the ground and shaking the earth. Hiya! Naruto descended from the air and delivers a bone-shattering axe kick that impacts with the beast's skull, putting him in a daze and stumbles. He then spins and hit him in the side of the jaw with a reversal roundhouse kick and B ends up spitting out saliva. Naruto then vanished and appeared next to one of the thrashing tentacles and grabs it. He then starts to rise into the air, pulling on the large appendage and starts to lift B into the air. Naruto grit his teeth and flies up even harder with his opponent. B on the other hand gets his vision back and realizes that he's rising in the air. Yo Ato, I didn't know you could fly, yo. This caused a tick mark to form on the hybrid's horned head.
Baka! I can't fly! The Gaki is lifting us into the air, Hachibi roared. The transformed bee snapped out of his stupor and realized that he was being lifted into the air by Naruto, who then stopped, and his aura flared to life. He started to grunt slightly as he pulled back and started to spin the guy slowly around the air by his tentacle before the speed increased. As the pace increased, he ended up creating a twister around them for a while before swinging his opponent upward into the air, resulting in B flailing his arms and tentacle as he ascended into the air. "Akami, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. I'm going to throw up and then I'm gonna die," he cried out. Naruto then appeared over the flailing ninja. B looked up to see Naruto with his fist reared back and electricity arcing around his arm. "Oh, this is gonna hurt like hell," B muttered.
Naruto then swung forward and delivered a powerful punch on B's jaw, causing the entire area around them to shake violently while B went free, falling down to the unforgiving ground at high speeds. As he made contact, dust erupted from the ground, forming in a mushroom-like shape, and the entire area shook violently from the aftershock. Yugito was struggling to keep her footing as the earth shook underneath her feet and flailed her arms around frantically.
For goodness sake, can this get any more violent? If this keep up, they're gonna split the island apart, she yelled out before tripping and falling on the ground face first. This action caused Nibi to laugh her ass off at the action. "Shut up, it's not funny," she screamed mentally as she got up and rubbed her injured nose.
As the dust settled down, Naruto descended downwards, landing on the ground softly while B was covered in rubble. "Man, I hope that fall didn't kill him. Maybe I went too high when I carried him off," he pondered until the ground started to rumble. Naruto turned his head in the direction where the 20-foot wide and deep crater was, and B in his Biju form rose up roaring at the sky.
"Rah! Ah!" he bellowed before slamming his fists into the ground on the cracks. "Do you think I'll let you get away with that, brat? I'm gonna stomp a hole in your head for this. Grah." He opened his mouth widely, which got the attention of the Saiyan. Black chakra started to form into a large sphere, before compressing into a smaller shape.
As Yugito got back up, she felt the large amount of chakra being created and her eyes widened in horror. "No, sensei, you're going too far," she whispered before looking around for cover. And the closest thing was a trench. She made a mad dash for it and dived into it. Naruto watched as his foe was gathering chakra in curiosity. "Naruto, don't let that attack hit you. The power in that move is of the charts. Don't get caught in its range." Goku screamed to his student, whose eyes widened as the hybrid reared its head back.
Legendary.
"Crap, I don't have enough time to get out of the range," he screamed as his foe shot his head forward. "No choice." Naruto's golden aura flared to life as B fires a concentrated beam of energy, which then engulfed the young Super Saiyan. The beam shot through the area before the beam widened, and then an explosion occurred, erupting outwards, and the whole island was shaking violently.
Yugito was curled up in the trench as the shaking rocked the island while a large cloud of dust rose in the air. Once it died down, the effect from the Amari menacing ball resulted in a wide and extremely deep trench stretching outwards in a straight line, leading from the field to the forest area where a 40-foot wide and 20-foot deep crater formed with dust still rising from it. The blonde Kunoichi popped her head out of the trek she was behind, and her eyes widened from the results and stared at the dust cloud rising from the forest area. "No, Naruto-kun," she trembled, fearing for the worst while tears brimmed around her eyes, praying that he wasn't dead. Nibi remained silent before her vessel, who was trembling before her senses picked something up and her eyes widened.
Kitten, he's still alive," she shouted to her vessel, snapping Yugito out of her stupor.
He is. Where?" she asked the two-tailed cat and looked around. "In the dust cloud, he's alive and well," she assured the 14-year-old. "Focus your eyesight there." Her slit pupils dilated as she focused on the sight and saw a shadow figure in the dust cloud. It then cleared and revealed Naruto surrounded by some type of golden energy dome with his arms crossed in AX formation. There didn't appear to be any damage aside from a few scratches and bruises, and aside from that his clothes were torn up. Half of his shirt was missing and he had several holes and rips in his pants, but other than that there was no other serious damage. He's alive. I'm gonna kick his ass for worrying me like that. She screamed mentally while Nibby chuckled.
Meanwhile,
Naruto uncrossed his arms and let out a sigh of relief. Man, that was too close for comfort. It's a good thing I set this barrier up in the last second, because if I hadn't I'd be in real trouble. He commented as the barrier vanished. I'll say, I can't tell you how many times I've cut it close in life or death situations. The worst I've been through was narrowly escaping an exploding planet. Goku said to his protege. I think it's time to get a little payback. Let's see how he handles a super Kamehameha. Naruto's aura flared to life before getting into the stance. Ki gathers around Naruto's palms, but the difference in this one is that it was light blue and generated more light.
B on the other hand snorts as he saw Naruto in the air over the large crater. So the Gaki survived after all. That's good, otherwise Yugito-chan would have turned me into a scratching post. Yeah. That was when he saw the blonde generating an odd light.
Me. His aura rockets upwards as he added more energy into the attack before thrusting his hands forwards. He screamed out as he fired a powerful light blue beam of energy that was twice as large as a normal Kamehameha was released, emitting a glow around the area as it descended towards the transformed B.
B saw the glowing blue light descend towards him. As he looked at the blue light in awe, his eyes widened when he realized that it was an attack, and its size rivaled the form of the hybrids. Oh shit, was all he could say before the blast engulfed him and exploded into a blue dome of energy that covered his entire form.
Naruto, the legendary Saiyan.
Saiyan. Showdown, light versus dark.
Naruto descends towards the smoking crater he created with the super Kamehameha wave that he fired at B in his Biju form. Oh man, I think I overdid that a little. I was aiming to knock him out, not kill him, he said as he landed on the ground with a concerned look on his face and dashes towards the crater.
Don't worry, Naruto. I can still feel B's life force as well as the Hachibi's. It would appear that his partner's form took most of the brute force from that attack, Goku assured his apprentice, who also sensed the man's energy signature, and sighs in relief. He then hops into the crater and skids down the rocks before skidding to a halt. The smoke cleared, revealing B's tattered and smoking form, and the man was in a daze.
Now that attack was the shit, B said in a dazed tone, resulting in Naruto sweat dropping and chuckling. He then slowly helped Killer B up and hoists the man over his shoulder, rising into the air and out of the crater. As he left it, he carefully placed the wrapping Jinchuriki onto the ground and reaches into his sash for something.
Yugito came running towards them and stops beside Naruto with a worried look on her face. Is he gonna be okay? She asked the young Super Saiyan, and got a nod.
Yeah, he's just a little shaken up, Yugito-chan, he assured the girl, and he managed to pull out a bag that seemed to be filled with something. He shuffled his finger through the bag and pulls out a senzu bean.
I don't think a chakra pill is gonna help him, Yugito stated, and received a chuckle from the blonde, who inserted the bean into Killer B's mouth.
What makes you think it is a chakra pill? Naruto asked. Yugito blinked a few times and was about to speak, but stopped when she heard her second uncle chow down on the bean and gulps it down. There a pause of silence for a few minutes until B's brows rose up and he instantly flips back on his feet with a grin on his face.
Legendary.
Look like I caught my second wind and I feel like I can take on 1,000 men. Oh yeah. B cried out, pumping his fist into the air. Yugito had a look of astonishment on her face, and looks back at a grinning Naruto.
How, was all she could say to the young Saiyan. These aren't chakra pills, Yugito, they're beans, but they are a special and rare variety that possess special properties which restore a person's full strength and also heals any injuries they've gotten. He answered back as he put the sack back into his sash.
Killer B, on the other hand, was inspecting the damage around the area and whistled lowly. Man, big bro is gonna flip when he sees this, he mumbled. Yeah, we did do quite a lot of damage on the field. Huh? Naruto replied with a sheepish grin on his face. Quite. The place looks like a war zone, Yugito screamed in her mindscape. Glad that wasn't us, because that attack would have done more than scorched my fur if it hit, Nibi informed her student.
Speak for yourself, Matabi. That attack hurt like a bitch. Hachibi roared telepathically to his fellow Biju. I've had my fair share of brutal attacks in the past, but that one takes the cake. I haven't been hit this hard since I got in that fight with Kurame, female Kyuubi's name people 2 centuries ago. Suck it up, Yuki, you only got your ass handed to you because you called her a bitch who needed to get her ego checked. She remarked with a snicker while the hybrid snorted and mumbled about hot-headed vixens needing attitude adjustments. Well, let's call it a day. Grab some grub and hit the hay, B said, letting out a yawn and cracks his neck before heading into the direction of where his vacation home was. Yugito on the other hand sighs in annoyance and folds her arms over her chest.
He can be such a pain sometimes. I'm surprised Uncle hasn't killed him yet for his bad rapping, she remarked, and got a chuckle from Naruto. True, but at least he's lively in some way or form. Plus normalcy is overrated anyway. And I'm used to meeting people like B. I would bet my tail that somewhere out there is a super pervert, a lady who's a chronic drunk and sucks at gambling, and a guy with a creepy fetish for odd abilities and little boys, he stated, resulting in 3 legendary ninja sneezing at the same time, and the outcome being one was being beaten to death by women in the hot springs, the other winning the lottery, and the last person chuckling in an eerie fashion that sent shivers down everyone's spine.
Goku and Shenron sweat drop from Naruto's odd prediction. Your future successor is an odd one, Goku. If only he knew how true his prediction was. The immortal dragon states, getting a nod of agreement from Goku.
Anyway, let's head back, Yugito-chan, Naruto stated, and that was when she leapt onto his back, wrapping her arms around his neck and legs around his waist, grinning in an excited manner.
He then took off into the air with his passenger screaming in delight and heading to the house, telling him to go faster. B looked up and dropped his jaw as he saw his niece on Naruto's back flying over him. That's not fair, the monkey can fly but I'm grounded, I feel a tear coming to my eye. He whined before taking off like a blur across the field, leaving a trail of dust behind. B's vacation home. Naruto gently lands on the ground with Yugito on his back and she hops off his back with a giddy expression on her face. Killer B landed before them panting slightly and regains his breath. What I wouldn't give to fly, yo, he muttered before a grin formed on his face. Aside from that great match, Naruto, that was one hell of a thrash you gave me. I haven't been a situation like that since I faced the yellow flash. Naruto's brows rose up when he heard that. You fought against Minato Namikaze before? B nodded at his answer while folding his arms over his chest.
Yeah, during the last war, and that guy was a pro in terms of speed. But from what I can see now, I think you'd have him matched in that department, though I believe you were holding back when we spared. He noticed Naruto's eyes widening at the statement, but the man merely smirks. So you noticed, huh? Yeah. I did hold back, but mainly for your safety. Because believe it or not, I'm a lot stronger than I appear to be, since my bloodline trait enables to me to grow stronger every time I train or fight someone stronger than me, Naruto explained to them.
But how do you keep it under control? Yugito asked curiously. Naruto responds by clapping his hands together, causing a golden aura outline to form around his body, and then several odd seals appeared around his arms, chest, torso, and legs.
Gravity and suppression seals. I mainly use them as limiters to suppress my real strength, so that I could enjoy fighting strong opponents. He answered to the vessel of Matatabi with a sheepish smile, while the seals faded back into his body.
Wow, so how much weight are you currently carrying on yourself? Yugito wondered, as did B. How much? Well, when I started training I wore a 20-ton turtle shell on my person since I was 7 and every now and then the weight was doubled. He answered, only to see their jaws drop to the ground and shoulders slump while Matabi and Yuki did the same.
Say what? The two? Biju screamed out.
B was the first to snap out of his stupor and speak out. That's practically 200 tons you've been training in Surugaki. Did you train under Kami? The rapper questioned. And they say Uncle A was a trainaholic but he's going nothing on Naruto-kun. Yugito thought with her vessel nodding in agreement while the teenage Saiyan rubs the back of his head sheepishly. Well, kind of, he answered, getting a chuckle from both Goku and Shenron. So if I could ask B, does this island in peculiar have a connection with the Biju? B raised an eyebrow but nodded. Yes, due to some of the ruins that have the hieroglyphics of the Biju and their vessels. It explains that the vessel and the Biju must be in sync if they ever wish to unleash their true power, but to do so one must face their inner darkness. One must face their inner darkness. Naruto repeated and pondered on the riddle. Any idea on this, sensei? Goku pondered on this too, rubbing his chin in thought at Yugito's explanation and what it meant. One must face their inner darkness. From what I would guess, I think she means face that part of you that's affiliated with negative emotions such as anger, rage, envy, jealousy, hate, and other negative feelings which would manifest into a physical form based off these feelings. He explained to his apprentice.
Naruto broke out of his thoughts and spoke up. So what you're saying, Yugi-chan, is that the person must defeat the part of them that represents their negative emotions, right? Yugito nodded positively at the teenage Saiyan's answer. So basically anyone can go through this trial even if they aren't vessels, right? Again she nodded at his answer.
Yes, regular people can go through the trial since doing so isn't forbidden, but if you are weak-willed and your negative emotions take over, then, she paused at her answer and a grim expression formed on her face. I see. Naruto thought about her explanation and wondered if he too had a darker side. He knew good and well everyone had a light and a dark side since no one was born absolutely good or evil, but if the person's emotional spectrum suffers more on the negative side, it would drive them to their darker emotions. Are you thinking about using the falls, Naruto-kun? Yugito asks. Naruto nods and looks at her. Yeah, I am actually. I don't know how much my negative half will affect my psyche, but I don't want to take a chance of it getting the best of me later on in my journey, so yeah, I'll be using the falls. She stares at him for a little bit before sighing. Okay, but be careful, Naruto-kun. She asked with a concerned expression on her face, worried about the young Saiyan. Naruto smiles warmly at her and nods back.
Don't worry, Yugi-chan. I'll be fine, I promise. He assured her.
Ah, that is so cute. My little kitten is concerned about her boyfriend. Matabi purred in her vessel's mindscape, causing Yugito's eyes to widen and a blush to form on her face.
For Kami's sake, he's not my boyfriend, damn it. She roared at the two-tailed cat who meowed. Naruto noticed the blush on her face and smirked.
Is a certain cat teasing you again? He asked and got a nod from her. I see, and just so you know, Yugi-chan, I like you too. Yugito blinked rapidly at his statement.
Huh? Was the only thing that could come out of her before Naruto did something even more surprising. He leaned forward and gave her a peck on the cheek before saluting, and zips into the house, leaving a stunned Yugito at the doorway. The blush on her face grew while she touched the cheek that Naruto kissed.
He kissed me. Naruto-kun kissed me. The gears in her head got back to working and a grin slowly spreads on her face. Matabi giggles as she witnessed a chibi version of her vessel jump up and down, squealing in joy with hearts in her eyes.
The next day.
Falls of Truth.
Naruto was standing in front of a large waterfall, listening as the water crashed against the rocks on the bottom, while a few fish were swimming into the mouth of the river that flowed downstream, into the jungle. It's now or never, Naruto said before stepping onto the platform and sitting Indian style. Goku-sensei, Shenron-sensei. Once I enter my mindscape, I'm gonna have to ask you to not interfere. This is something I'll have to do alone. Goku nodded in agreement, as did Shenron, both being proud of how much Naruto has grown since his travels, and knew that he was mentally ready to battle his inner darkness.
We understand, Naruto, and I wish you luck. We'll move to a different section of your mindscape so that you won't be distracted. Good luck. The legendary hero said before the link between them was cut. Naruto stared at the waterfall intently and then closed his eyes in concentration in order to link himself to his mind. From afar, Yugito and B were watching from the edge of a cliff, and said vessels each had serious yet concerned expressions on their faces, praying that their friend can succeed in conquering his dark side. Good luck, Naruto-kun, she thought while watching his still form. She felt a hand on her shoulder and looked up to see her uncle, Sensei, give a reassuring grin. Don't fret, little Yugi, the Surugaki will pull through and gain victory. Yugito says nothing but smiles as a form of, thank you, and turns her attention back at Naruto's still form, unaware that B's expression went grim. Can he help us if he fails, because there won't be a force on earth that will stop him should his darkness win.
Naruto's mindscape. Naruto opened his eyes to see a replica of the waterfall and didn't sense his senses in the area. He stands and faces the waterfall, narrowing his eyes as he watched a shadowed figure forms behind the waterfall. His eyes widened slightly, and he witnessed the replica of himself appear to look similar to him, but with a difference being his facial appearance. A smug and arrogant smirk formed on his face, and his eyes screamed danger as they were more primal in appearance, and like Naruto, his tail swayed behind him with the last different being. The lining around his eyes were deeper, like Majin Vegeta's were. So, this is my inner darkness, huh?
Yes, I am, and I was wondering when you would show yourself. Yami, Naruto answered in a deeper tone that carried a hint of arrogance, causing Naruto's eyes to widen in surprise. Whoa, you can read my mind. Oh wait, that's right, we're the same person, he said in a sheepish manner. Yami, Naruto scoffs at his lighter half's impudence. No kidding, clown, we are one and the same, with the only difference being that I'm the real you, he answered smugly while Naruto frowned.
No, you're not, Naruto replied back to his darker half, who chuckled deeply.
Of course I am the real one. I am the true representation of an ancient warrior race. One that was once known in the galaxy as the strongest to ever exist. Yami, Naruto boasted. Wow, my darker half is delusional. He acts like that Vegeta guy Goku-sensei talked about. Naruto thought. So you know the reason I'm here then? Yami, Naruto nods.
But of course you're here to defeat me in order to overcome your inner darkness. But it won't happen because I intend to crush my weaker half, gain control of you, and bring our race back to greatness, he declared.
Naruto, on the other hand, scowled at what his darker half planned on doing if he won. That's not gonna happen as long as I'm around. Yami, Naruto simply HMPHED at his response and folded his arms in a fashion similar to Vegeta's when he faced Goku for the first time.
Then it shouldn't take too long for me to end. Maybe after I win, I'll deal with that idiot rapper, his village, and maybe get some action with that cute blonde. And then maybe pay a visit to that russet-haired broad. I believe her name is May, your Harem as you call her, he said with a perverse grin on his face.
Naruto's eyes flared up in anger. Like hell you will, because the only way you're getting to them is through me, and I'll be damned if I lose this fight. As he powers up, his hair rises and transforms into his Super Saiyan state.
Yami. Naruto simply grins at his other half, and much to Naruto's surprise, he transformed into a Super Saiyan. Why so shocked? I possess the same abilities as you do. Why? Naruto states, getting a smirk from Naruto. I should have known better, but it doesn't change anything. I'm still going to beat you, he declared before getting into the Kame stance, Goku's fighting stance. Yami Naruto, on the other hand, smirks and gets into his own stance, Vegeta's stance when he first faced Goku. "We'll see. Why?" Naruto replied back. The two opposites had a stare-off, waiting for the other to make the first move. Naruto flexes his hands a few times with a smirk still plastered on his face, ready to drive his so-called weaker half into the pavement.
Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 OST, Battle Theme Number 11. Naruto suddenly vanished in a burst of speed, as did Naruto in the surrounding area for a few seconds before what sounded like a sonic boom echoed throughout the forest. Several more sonic booms echoed throughout the sky before Naruto and Naruto appeared with their forearms clashing against the other, pausing for a few seconds before they each unleashed an onslaught of punches and kicks that appeared like blurs to the naked eye.
The force behind their moves caused a strong breeze to brush trees back, as well as other forms of debris to fly in different directions, the water in the river to rise up, and the rock textures to crumble into piles of rubble. The assault continued for a few seconds, until Naruto slipped into Naruto's defense and delivers an elbow uppercut into his chin, making his head jerk back in surprise.
He recovers quickly and returns the hit with a right hook to Naruto's jaw. The two once again vanished, moving at speeds that would make Minato Namikaze look slow in comparison, releasing shockwaves around the area. When they appeared again, Naruto is struck in the jaw by a high kick but retaliates by striking Naruto in the jaw with another right hook, and Naruto finished by driving a vicious low punch directly into the gut of his darker half.
Gah! Yai! Naruto hunches over and coughs from the punch, while Naruto takes this opportunity to strike him in the face with a right haymaker that sent him plummeting into the forest. As he crashed, dust kicked up into the air with Naruto descending downwards to his opponent. His eyes widened as a yellow ki blast headed towards him, stopping in midair and vanishes as the blast sailed past him. He appears on top of a rock structure, watching the attack explode and disperse until his senses flared up. Naruto turns around and sees another ki blast that was bigger than the last one he for him, and once again blurs away as it destroys the rock texture. He hops backwards a few times against the rocky terrain before taking to the air as Naruto appears in a stance his other half was familiar with. Naruto crouches down, curls his fingers and places both his hands together at chest level, facing the same direction, so that the palm of one hand is on the back of the other. Light purple orb forms in his hand and hums to life as he gathered the energy for it. Naruto pauses in the air and brings his arms back with a blue orb gathering around his cupped hands. "Take this, Gallic gun!" Naruto thrusts his hands forward and fires a fuchsia-colored ki beam upwards.
Kamehameha. Naruto calls out and fires a Kamehameha wave downwards. The blue and purple beams descended towards one another and clashed, forming a blue and fuchsia-colored dome in the center that slowly expanded. A power struggle occurred as the two Super Saiyans pushed more energy into their attacks, making the dome of energy grow even more. It couldn't contain its form and it erupted into an explosion of energy. The force behind it sent debris everywhere and also sent Naruto flying backwards and crashed into the side of a rock texture and bounced off it. "Ah!" he cried out pain, unaware that Naruto appeared behind him grinning and strikes him in the back with a backhand. Naruto descends to the ground and crashes, sliding to the end of another rock texture.
He gets up on one knee while Naruto ascends towards him, grinning in a feral manner. Naruto hops back as the Dark Saiyan hits the ground with a ki-enhanced punch, causing a crater to form, and looks up to see Naruto back flipping through the terrain. Naruto pulls his hand out of the crater and takes off after Naruto. Said Saiyan plants his feet onto the edge of a cliff and bounces off, flying towards Naruto, performing a dropkick as did the darker half.
Their attacks clashed, hitting them both directly under the jaw and the two were wide-eyed. They separated and both landed on the ground opposite from one another with their hair and clothes ruffling in the wind and had a stare off. The two remained silent for a while until Naruto spoke up.
Impressive. I guess you're as weak as I thought, he remarked, getting a smirk from Naruto. Funny. I could say the same to you. The smirk on his face disappeared and was replaced with a serious one. But if it's alright with you, I'd like to skip the warm-up and get this over with. Yummy. Naruto grinned in a feral manner and nods in agreement. My thoughts exactly. Naruto's face scrunches up in concentration, and his muscles bulge a little, resulting in his aura flaring up. Veins throbbed around his biceps, neck, and temple as his power increased. He crossed his arms as his hair spiked up even more. Grah! The golden aura around Naruto flared up in an even more wild-like fashion, releasing a higher frequency sound, wise with a lightning aura arching around his body.
His hair was even a deeper gold color and spiked up even more in a wild-like fashion with a few bangs hanging down, similar to Gohan's hairstyle but with two bangs with one being slightly shorter than the other. His muscle mass was a little more pronounced but not overly so. His skin tone was a lighter color as well as his clothes due to the increased energy output from the golden aura. His facial features grew more sharper and fiercer with his eyes being sharper and more primal in appearance.
Yummy. Naruto's eyes widened in awe as he saw his other half ascend to Super Saiyan 2, and then snaps out of it. Impressive, but anything you can do, raises his arms up while gathering a huge amount of energy, and releases it as he brings them down, ascending to Super Saiyan 2 as well. I can do as well, he declared. Now it was Naruto's eyes who widened in astonishment. You too? Naruto questioned, and his darker half snorted in annoyance.
I told you this before, idiot. I have the same abilities as you, including the transformations you've obtained from training in the time chamber. He stated. Now enough stalling, let's get started.
The two opposites dashed towards each other with their fists reared back and swing forward. When their fists collided, the force behind them emitted a shockwave so powerful that the ground underneath them couldn't handle the pressure and cratered under their form. The rock textures rumbled and a few collapsed under the force. Song ends.